Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of Better Call Saul, Season 6, Episode 9, titled Fun and Games. By the way, Vince Gilligan, Peter Goldblum, what's wrong with you guys naming this episode Fun and Games? There was not a lot of fun to be had here, you sickos, but anyway.
No, this was a really sad episode.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen Kim go down bad choice road multiple times during this season, but breaking up with Jimmy, you are going down the worst choice road. No, it's probably actually the right choice, but not great.
No, that's the thing. It's like, I'm messing around, but it's the perfect title for this episode. It's one that just has punched me in the stomach so hard that I'm still like trying to exhale from it.
I agree. I'm just in a state of shock. I mean, I know we all know that Kim is not in Breaking Bad, and at some point she has to go. And, is this the end? I mean, we don't know, right? Obviously, there's still a bunch more episodes coming up, but oh man, woof, there's rough.
Rest assured, we are going to talk about Kim Wexler's future in this video, among a number of other things. So if you want to live on an island of delusion, perhaps with me, just hit that subscribe button. There's more coming up. We have a lot more Better Call Saul reviews. We don't want you guys to miss that. I am sure we are going to have a crazy end to all of this.
Also, if you want a little pick-me-up from this episode, head over to our Instagram, Matt and Jess TV, where there is all sorts of new pictures of the cutest little bunny you will ever see in your life, and it'll just give your heart the right kind of squeeze after this episode that just kicked my heart right out of my chest.
Okay, so here's what I will say first. For everyone who is looking for like a silver lining, a space blanket lining, any sort of lining that you want right now. Kim is not dead. They did not kill Kim. Kim is not in prison. All things considered, this is actually a better outcome for her than what a lot of us predicted.
If this is really the end, I mean, we're still in the present time, she could still be around. We don't know. What we do know is that after everything that happened, she was not handling this. She felt a lot of guilt, not just because Howard got killed and what they did to his reputation, what they did to, his family's reputation. She knew that Lalo was alive and never told Jimmy. And she thought she was doing it, to protect him and all these other reasons. But she knew deep down that she was really doing it because she knew that the end result was going to end up with them being apart, that they would end up breaking up, which is where they ended up anyways, where she handed in, basically her resignation to the bar. She's no longer a lawyer and she's packed up all her stuff and she's leaving him.
I think she is not only leaving him, I think she, because she resigned from the bar, I think she's leaving New Mexico. Like, I think she's done with that area. I think she realizes I can't go on here. I think she thought maybe I would find a way to, Jimmy had that sort of comment earlier on in the episode where he basically was like, one of these days we're just going to wake up, do our whole routine, and, we're going to forget that it ever happened. And I think the moment she had that conversation with Cheryl and she ended up telling that lie about seeing Howard at his desk, I think she crossed, and I know this is even after Howard was killed, but I think she crossed something internally at that point that she could not uncross.
I feel like that really was the moment when they went down to the parking garage and she walked up to him and she kissed him. I was like, that's a kiss goodbye. That feels like a kiss goodbye. And it really tore me up. It was so sad.
The directing on that scene where they have them kissed, it's shot in a really cool way. No dialogue, just gets in the car and she just takes off. It just beautiful and gut-wrenching. And this is all just leading into, by the way, even more gut-wrenching. This may be the line of the series, is Ray Seahorn saying, because I was having so much fun. Like, that is iconic. that is memorable. That stab, that is Walter White in the finale basically being like, I did it for me, I did it because I liked it.
Yeah, and I mean, for a long time, I think we all knew that this was a side of Kim that was hers, and she's
Yeah.
tried to own it quite a few times, even with Howard, where Howard was like, "Oh, Jimmy's really bad for you," sort of thing. She's just kind of like, stop it. Like, I think for myself, I make my decisions for myself, I feel what I want. Like, I'm not just being led around by Jimmy, I'm being led around by Kim. And
Yep.
Jimmy may bring out sort of the worst and best in me, and I do with him, but it's my choice, and it's always been her choice. And this season, especially, I mean, we saw it last season, but this season, especially, we have seen that a lot of this was fun for her.
Okay, now I've already expressed my hope that, Kim is still out there. I think they at least want us to think for now, and I will continue to think this until they tell me otherwise, that she's going to show up in Omaha. She's clearly got ties to Kansas City, the Royals. It's not that far from Omaha. I want to believe that that is going to happen, but I'll pour just a little bit of cold water on myself and my own theory here, because this is the worst case scenario theory, and I'm gonna have to become Mike Ehrmantraut for a second here. No half measures. Okay, so here's the thing. She tried to kill Gus. Regardless of anything, regardless of the order, the command, she tried to kill Gus. We know that Jimmy slash Saul is working for Gus and with Mike in Breaking Bad. This is somebody who knew all this stuff, who tried to kill Gus. Mike and Gus are just going to let her leave and go off somewhere and live her life?
They very well might. I mean, we had that conversation with Mike and Gus where they were discussing sort of, where does everything stand now? And Mike was like, well, everyone bought the Howard,
Yeah.
did this to himself, and that story is working. The cops believe it, everyone believes it, the family believes it. And, he's like, Jimmy and Kim did a great job. They were able to really sell this. Like, everything is just fine. I have felt like, and keep in mind, obviously, we all know what happens in Breaking Bad already. So
Yeah.
this isn't what Gus ends up doing. But Gus is the type of person who is very meticulous about his business, about his life, about who he lets in his life. All of it, who he allows to stay alive, who he needs to keep close. It's all sort of strange to me that really either one of them would be alive. Now, we have seen, of course, that in the future, Saul has a role to play in with Mike and Gus and everything like that. So that makes sense that he
Yeah.
would then have to bring him in closer. But, it's just, could Kim end up getting taken out? I don't think so. I thought so for a really long time, but now I'm starting to feel like, no, I think she's going to get disappeared by the vacuum repairman. I do.
Thank you. You have just healed my soul tremendously and made me less concerned. See,
The more that I think about it, I just think it's a really cheap way to get out of it with Kim and that whole situation. And this show isn't that. They don't take the easy route. And even with this breakup, I mean, like, I thought in my head over and over and over again, like, would Kim ever leave him? Would he
Yeah.
ever leave her? And I was just like, no, there is no way that I could ever see this where it's believable until this all unfolded. And I was like, yep.
I was with you. They totally hoodwinked me, and it's like, this actually made sense. It's the way that they wrote it that because I feel like Kim left because she loved him. And I think she knew that so long as they were together, they would continue to make each other worse. And I think she made this move sort of with that idea in her mind. Of course, we already see these flash forwards, and I look at, this weird monster of a man that Jimmy Saul has become. And I'm just like, is he really better without her? Yeah, he's more successful, but he's also far worse of a human being. This guy's got like no humanity left at all.
Yeah, and I feel like we all knew that the thing that was really going to make him break bad was losing Kim. I
Yeah.
mean, Kim is a rock for him, and that is sort of was always going to be the catalyst of what was going to make him turn fully into this guy, Saul Goodman, and sort of having women over and doing
Yeah.
whatever and being kind of skeezy. And that's just the way that it was going to end up. And it had to be that Kim was no longer around.
This is the craziest thing, is that there are still 4 episodes left and we still haven't seen Gene. That timeline is coming. It seems like Walt and Jesse are literally right around the corner too. So there's a lot of exciting stuff there, but I am going to be spending these next 4 episodes. I'm not going to get over this Kim thing until the show ends. I'm just warning you guys now. I'm just going to be like, where's Kim? Like looking around in every single scene.
She better not just be gone
Yeah.
for these last 4 episodes. I mean, as we're recording this, we haven't seen anything online here. We haven't looked for any interviews or anything. So, like, if it's out there, it's out there. And it is the way that it is with this video. But as of right now, I mean, there are still enough episodes left that we have to at least get some sort of update on her, whether it is she's in prison, she disappears, she gets killed, or even if she's just off somewhere living a completely different life, and that there's, I don't know. It's hard to say to give her a bit of happiness because of what she's done and her part in all of this. And she knows that she has some responsibility. And I'm not saying she's entirely responsible. She's not. Jimmy is also responsible. You know, everybody has played a part in this. But it's hard to see everything that she's gone through and then been like, man, I hope she goes down, you know, good choice road and has this wonderful, perfect life afterwards.
It's true, and it's so easy to kind of just get lost in the fact that we're so compelled by Jimmy and Kim as characters that it's easier to overlook some of their flaws, but their flaws are severe, and their flaws led to just terrible consequences. To Howard, who, you know, by and large, he was a reasonably good person. Like, there were so many people there at that HHM remembrance service, and like they all really did care about the guy.
This was the part that for Jimmy, I felt like he was actually finally just being honest about what his issue with Howard really truly was, because through all of this with the bowling ball and all this and setting him up, he's had such a just like anger towards Howard, and I've always been kind of like, what is it? Like, I get that Howard's a little bit condescending and he's not always, you know, the greatest guy, but he really didn't deserve everything that he was getting from Jimmy. So what was it? And he really, you know, he said that it was just jealousy, that he had a relationship with Chuck that he could never have, that he was never able to figure out how to get that footing with him. But Howard had Chuck's respect and love and caring, and it was just jealousy.
I'm glad we got it. Like, I didn't expect that we were going to understand that in this episode. Like, I really didn't, but it was a very important moment. And that's why I think this episode is so just phenomenal, because they really took so much time, and it was a longer episode, but they actually gave us an understanding of all of this sort of stuff. And, you know, and speaking of which, Mike, the other scene in this episode that punched me in the stomach of Mike visiting Nacho's father, because it is a reminder of, okay, Mike Ehrmantraut still has the common decency to go and tell this man that, you know, his son has died, but he also thinks that, okay, there's going to be a way to get justice. But, you know, Mike's version of justice very different than, you know, Nacho's dad's version of justice, and it is so unbelievably sad.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually good to hear his father call that out, to be like, justice. You're talking about revenge, and revenge is just goes around and around and around and around. There is no justice. My son is dead. I was just like, wow, yeah. And
I think Mike had to hear that in line where he said in Spanish, but he was just like, you know, all you gangsters, you're all the same. And I think it's got to live in Mike's head that regardless of his reason, regardless of why he's making all this money or anything else, is he really that much better than, Lalo, than Hector, than any of these other people who are out there doing this stuff?
And I think that's where the scene with Gus really comes into play in
Yeah.
this, because everybody really does have someone that they're close to, that even though they're in this world, and this
Yeah.
world is a very dark world and a difficult world, Gus has decided that he is absolutely not going to let anybody into this world. Even this waiter, David, who it seemingly has had sort of like a long relationship with, he's known him for years, and they obviously have a very close bond as much as Gus is going to allow.
Yeah.
But the minute that he starts to realize that he's getting just a tiny bit too close, and it's really not much of anything
Yeah.
at this point. They're just at the bar, sharing stories, talking about wine, that he is just like, and I'm out. And he pulled the chute and he's gone. And it's a reminder of what a very lonely life this is. We saw it with, Mike and what he's been trying to do. Nacho's father now doesn't have Nacho, and Jimmy and Kim are broken up. I mean, everybody is really on their own, and they're all dealing with such heartbreak, where Gus is just like, I'm not going to deal with any heartbreak. I know what the life is that I have, so no one can come into it.
I think it was that line where the waiter's basically, let me know when you ever have that occasion where you're going to open. And it was just like, in Gus's heart, I think he was like, that moment would probably be opening it with you, but I know I can't do that. And that's what it was all of this stuff. I think we don't get a lot of Gus insight. Like, this guy is so unbelievably, and it's crazy because we've known Giancarlo in this role since Breaking Bad, but I love Gus at the same time. It's hard to root for Gus. Like, let's just put it that way, because of everything that Gus does. But I love getting this window into his world, and Gus is sort of a sad character with that in mind. The only other thing that I have to say, that this episode, it needed to have like one or two moments of humor, as small as they are. Hector annoying everybody with the bell at the summit, and then you just see Don Eladio on the other side. They were so over Hector, it was not even funny.
Well, and it also, I mean, Hector made some mistakes, and I think he really realized the mistakes that he made, because he truly had come forward to be like, listen, this is everything that happened. The Gus is behind all of this. And, he tried to kill Lalo, and really he was secretly alive, but I'm the only person that knew. And it was like, well, then nobody can confirm your story. You've even got the cousins being like, no, he's dead. Yeah, they checked the dental records. He's gone. Like, Nacho also confirmed he was being paid not by Gus, and here's the bank transfers. Like, there's just too much evidence, and Hector really dropped the ball not telling somebody.
I feel like I need like 8 drinks after. I think I just need to just go like pass out somewhere and eventually cry. Okay, we will be back to talk more Better Call Saul, and hopefully talk more about Kim being alive and being relevant in the story. We will see.
Yep.
Hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you here next time.